I just would like to show you the attacks today because they're insane. They're essentially just non-stop shooting at me. Like with whatever they have. And I almost hit my throat. Did you see how it jumped up all the way because they're shooting here? And it's essentially just non-stop. This is so painful. I have not seen anything like that before. Wow. It's actually jumping. I mean, this is like 6, but it actually saturates at 6. So the measuring device is the EM fields, Acousticom 2, electrosmog detector, 200 megahertz to 8 gigahertz. And the units are volts per meter. The units are non-linear. It's 0.01, 0.02, 0.05, 0.1, 0.3, 136. So from the bottom, green, where it should be, from 0.01 to 6, there's a factor 600. So these jumps are a lot taller than you think. And every single one of those is a shot to the head, essentially. And the ones which don't jump all the way, sorry, I have to switch off the howling. The ones that don't jump all the way to up, you know, they only jump to 3, for example. That's because I'm not holding this into the beam. But if I manage to catch, I think there it was, somewhere there. Did you just see that? I managed to catch the top of the beam, or no, the center of the beam to pass through this detector, and then it jumps all the way to the top. But I have to not just hold this into the beam, I have to have it also, you know, so that the beam goes in like that. And then it shows you the maximum, which is why I'm sometimes rotating it out so that you can just about see the LEDs. But I mean, this is just, it's insane. It's insane. And sometimes it calms down, but then it starts up again, like, now it's hit my throat. Can you see? They're essentially just shooting at lymph nodes, throat. And now it's just an all-out assault. The beam, the hum is, I think, the guiding beam, or maybe it's like the surveillance. But I've noticed from experience that there would be a hum or a beep and then a burst, and I think that's essentially what it is. But it's extremely painful. My head gets shot at non-stop. And you know how in the video, which I named insane retaliation attacks, you can see it exactly every minute. Now it's just not even like every 3 seconds, it's just all the time. These people are going mental, but it hurts so much because I keep getting shots here. So what you're seeing now, you know, every single time there's a jump up, essentially I'm being shot in the head, here, on the shoulders, here in the face, there in the face, here in the head. My head is cooking because it's non-stop pulses to the head. But this is just now all-out extermination now. Essentially, I cannot believe this. Every single one of the clicks you can hear is essentially a painful pulse to my head. Wow, sorry, I have to talk to you. So this is essentially Totalzersetzung, so total disintegration of a human being. I have been very vocal this week. I've come out, I'm not actually, you know, gay, but I've come out with being assaulted by the intelligence agencies on the Richie Allen Show on, when was that? Was it Tuesday, Wednesday? I can't remember. It's all just like blurring into one for me now. And essentially since then, I was trying to get information out there, what's happening to me. And the assaults on me are getting ever more insane. And they are targeting essentially my forehead. So what this is essentially, you know, microwave lobotomy to degrade me quickly so that I either die from cancer very, very quickly, so that I cannot speak up about these crimes being committed against me. But I get shot in the eye, into both eyes, I get shot in the face, my lymph nodes, like my entire throat is aching now because it received so many microwave pulses. I just can't take it anymore. And literally, these assaults are just insane. And I'm in my own home. I mean, you know, I can show you the bunker where I have to be. This is the measuring device. This is a camera, which I'm using to measure the assaults. Okay, so what you see is this equipment that's lying around, these cables. So this is usually connected to the laptop, but today I'm just reading it out here. So this is what it looks like, but the antenna, the blue one over there, is not actually measuring pulsed shots. So this is 0 to 1 gigahertz shown there, and then this peak here is at 560, so 564, that's the peak. That's always broadcast into my home non-stop. That's what it says there. Sorry, the reflections. 560, 561, 564. That's, it oscillates between the two, but 561 megahertz, you know. And the mobile phone signal is somewhere here at, 850 to 950. So the 930, what you can see here, and here's the mobile phone signal. And that thing is much bigger than that. And then you've got this other stuff, you know, here. What's that doing there? So I can move a cursor to measure what frequency that's in. So if I move the cursor there, the bottom part disappears because that's essentially the signal. And then when this is the scan, the little dot running through. And then you can see the amplitude is minus 65. Here, 200 megahertz exactly. So that's the 200 megahertz. That number here is measuring where the cursor is here. Okay, and that's the amplitude, and it's shown here. And the measurement goes from minus 100 dBm to 0 dBm. But what you can see is essentially this. And whilst I'm holding this, my head is cooking. But with this antenna, so this, it shows you minus 46 dBm is the signal at 560 megahertz. And Dr. Paul Baccio says the certified measurement of a frequency between 400 to 700 megahertz is an act of terrorism. So this minus 44 dBm at 560 megahertz, according to that, is an act of terrorism. The 560 has been pumping into my home non-stop. But there are days when this entire spectrum is filled, when they're using all the brain interference frequencies on me. And then you literally cannot function in your own home because your brain, so this is my, this is me putting up the antenna, sorry, like that, so that, it doesn't touch anything. This is just an IKEA vase, the only one I could find. And this is just a microphone box, like a Philip microphone box. There's nothing in here apart from this microphone, okay? So there's no device hidden before people say, okay, come on, I can show you. Before people say, I've got stuff hidden that is actually generating these frequencies. I can show you what's in here. Oops. Okay, so I'm not actually generating the signal myself to scare you all. I am a genuine victim, and I can show you that in this box, what you see is essentially, this is just a microphone that I bought to record the videos, but essentially it doesn't work. So that's it. It's a microphone. It's not connected to anything. So that's what's in the box here. So what I'm essentially doing is I'm putting the antenna on here just to balance it like that, so that it doesn't touch. The antenna should be freestanding, and as you can see, there's a gap. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. But there's nothing hidden in the box on my table. There's nothing that is generating the signal, and I can show you. Hang on, I have to get rid of the keyboard. Sorry, don't get seasick. I'm going to take you for a walk to show you my office. So this is my office. I have to essentially bunker down because of the assaults. And this is how big my office actually is. That on the whiteboard is an organogram, so it's nothing to do with the all-seeing eye pyramid, thing. It's an organogram, and I'll explain it in the video. And that's how I sit here. And you can see down there, there's nothing. It's just chairs, and that's a printer. That black box is a scanner. That's an old scanner. And that's the computer. So there's nothing in my room that's essentially doing this. You know, I basically have to bunker down. This is how I work. This is how I work. Just to withstand these assaults. I mean, this is a mess. I'm naturally a very neat person. I don't like to sit like that and have to deal with this rampant nonsense. But that's essentially it. So welcome to my life, you know. But these assaults today really scare me because they've ramped up. And yeah, you can just see it. Like, it's hitting the max. Non-stop. Every single one of those really hurts. Can you hear the bursts? And here above at my head, they jump up to the maximum. There. Can you see that? So I have to hold this right into the beam, but then you can see at my head, it jumps up all the way to the maximum. So this is neurological disintegration because I'm speaking up. But, you know, I'm in Switzerland now. This is a democratic country, but I was also assaulted. So someone said to me yesterday, oh, well, you're outside of NATO, we can't do anything for you. Why, you're not getting it. I was assaulted in the UK in October. I was assaulted in Germany non-stop in August, and pretty much every single time I visit my parents in Germany and in, you know, everywhere, all around Germany, in every state. I was assaulted in Italy, in Spain, in the Netherlands, everywhere. So this has nothing to do with NATO, not NATO. This is to do with all the intelligence agencies working together and running essentially just this assault network. But I'm not an activist, I'm not a terrorist, and they assaulted me for, you know, over a year before I even spoke up. So, you know, but now that I speak up, they just stamp, you know, what's it called, ramp up the attacks, and they're just like, no, we're gonna assault you, you know, hammer you down, because the people at the top are degenerate psychopaths. They must be to run a system like that. And the people in the bottom are corrupt, thuggish, brutish morons. And the only thing that they can do is they can't stop because they think, oh, that's like losing face. That's like giving in to some weak woman. No, it's so much easier to just keep hammering her, assault her to death, assault her to death. Hey, what? You have to stop these guys. You really have to help me stop these guys because they're gone. Their brain is gone. You know? Which is not surprising because most of the like drug experiments and MK Ultra has been done on our military and our, you know, intelligence agents. So by the time they rise, their head is probably whacked clean through. But these people are, you know, idiots. And yeah, they can assault me to death, but that's not going to make the world better. Wow. Help me please, really. I'm going to make an appeal later on, but that's essentially the attacks that I'm dealing with every day. This is neurological degradation. And I'm going to have an appeal today. I'm going to make an all-out appeal for my life because this is insane. But yeah, so today is the 9th of December and it is now just about 2:15 in the afternoon. Please help me. I'll send out an appeal later. Please, please, please help me. Because I'm essentially being, you know, mutilated to death, and they all rely on the fact that we're all... Hang on, the battery's going flat. Okay, they are all relying on the fact that we're too stupid to understand microwave weapons, but they're punched through, you know. And the really, really nasty stuff, they can just shoot anywhere, and then just it bounces back and forth in my cubicle. But this is just like, I mean, I'm in so much pain already and my head is cooking. This is just, these are cancer weapons as well. So if I don't get neurologically degraded, my head is going to be seeded with tumors. But these degenerates don't care. So I want to say today is the 9th of December. It's 2:15 p.m. here. and I am in Switzerland, and the people who are in charge of these crimes in Switzerland are the Swiss intelligence agencies. So guilty, I, charged these crimes. The person I charge with these crimes is the head of the Swiss intelligence agency in Switzerland. When I'm in the UK and I was assaulted there, I charge the head of MI5, which is currently Andrew Parker. He's responsible for the fact that I was assaulted all the way from London to Manchester and then brutally in my Manchester hotel room. Only the intelligence agencies have got access to the gang stalking network, the surveillance networks in the cities and on the motorways and on trains and everywhere, keeping us safe, right? And only they have got access also to the weapons and can rent flats everywhere. And that intelligence agencies rent flats is just like the most basic thing. Private investigators do that as well. It's the first thing if they are observing somebody. So God, but please help me. I'll send around an appeal later, and please, please, please help me, because I am literally dying.